CTV's Jim Spellman has been covering the story in Texas, the home state of one of the Republican candidates, Ted Cruz. And he joins us now from the tech hub of Houston. A lot of young voters attracted there. Jim, good to see you. Certainly a big day in the U.S. presidential race.
Biggest day yet in this race, Michelle, and welcome to the Redneck Country Club. This is a bar outside of Houston, Texas, and for tonight it will be Ted Cruz HQ. He will be here later to speak to his followers, but you're really right. The youth vote can be so important, but it's so difficult for candidates to get these young voters out to actually vote. Take a look.
Last day to early vote in the primaries.
On the campus of the University of Texas and across the country, candidates have been reaching out to young voters.
You heard that coming from a hot dog.
For young Democrats, Bernie Sanders is the overwhelming choice. What drew you to Bernie Sanders?
Well, first, his honesty, the way he actually approached people, and actually starting to look at his policies.
Sanders, a self-proclaimed democratic socialist, has pushed for free college education, universal health care, and closing the gap between rich and poor, issues that resonate with young voters. His aggressive use of social media has helped him connect with many younger Americans.
He has been able to reach millennials way better than any other candidate.
Young Republicans are split between Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, and Marco Rubio. They share many of the same core issues with young Democrats, but they seek different solutions.
Most any issue, conservatives would rather have it fixed, I guess, outside of the realm of government.
Young voters tend to favor Democrats, but candidates can't always count on their votes.
Young voters in the U.S. have traditionally had a lower rate of turnout and political participation than older voters. That being said, they came out pretty strongly for Barack Obama, especially in 2008, which highlighted for a lot of observers the potential power of the youth vote.
Hey, have you guys voted yet?
The biggest challenge for campaigns is getting young voters to show up at the polls.
I think a lot of young people just feel very disconnected from politics, and that leads to apathy. And kind of what we're trying to say is like, no, that's the wrong tactic to take. It's, that you got to engage to make it better. So it first starts with voting.
Both young Democrats and young Republicans are more socially liberal than older voters and are easily turned off by the negative tone of many political campaigns.
And it just seems like a lot of the stuff, it's attacking people, and I don't think young people can relate to that.
As the sun sets in Texas and the neon lights start to shine and the votes are counted, we will learn if enough young people voted to make a major difference in the race for the White House. The polls here in Texas will begin to close in about 40 minutes, but we're already getting some early results from other states. It looks like Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton will win the state of Georgia. Bernie Sanders will take the state of Vermont. Michelle?
All right, Jim, the voter turnout rate was just over 58% during the last presidential election. As you said in your report, it's usually lower among young people. What do you expect to see this election season?
So far, as we mentioned there, Bernie Sanders has been, without a doubt, the candidate that has attracted more of the youth vote than any other candidate in any party. If he was to not make it and not become the nominee, it's really unclear whether Hillary Clinton for the Democrats or any of the nominees for the Republican Party will really be able to mobilize that youth vote the way Barack Obama did in 2008. I can tell you, though, regarding turnout, they have early voting here in Texas. Over 1 million people have already voted here in Texas. We don't have breakouts whether how many of those people were young voters, but over 1 million people have already voted, far more than have ever done early voting in any past election. Michelle?
That's a big turnout. It's a decisive campaign. Thank you so much, Jim Spellman, live from Houston.